Hello, yate koto she tonis klans ayan shye. I am a member of the Navajo tribe, Dene. I come from a place called Big Mountain. My clans are Turichini clan, born for the Lithuanian peoples. I was raised by my great-grandparents. We lived on the mountain. We raised sheep and horses. We also lived in the plain areas in the summer to raise crops. So we led that lifestyle, and we would move our livestock around. That's kind of how I was raised as a Dene. I'm here to talk about the work of the Intertribal Gathering Process. This is a process where we're working with tribes on the Colorado Plateau and immediately around the plateau. Some of the tribes that we started working with in 2009, we had our first gathering. The tribes are like Apache, Kaibat Paiute, Hopi, Wallapai, Havasupai, Navajo, Zuni, Ute Mountain, Southern Ute, Uinta Ray, Kokopa, Acoma, Taos, Nambe. These are all the representatives of cultural leaders that come to these meetings. We've had 2 gatherings a year starting in 2009. A lot of our work right now, we just concluded 2 gatherings this year. We concluded a gathering in Monkopi around watershed restoration and maintaining traditional farmer knowledge and knowledge of how to keep out GMOs and keep the old way of preserving seeds and laying out the fields and watering, keeping those systems going. We also just concluded a healing gathering down in the Supai community. We took our elders down there and we shared knowledge around food systems, around prayer, how to do prayers and how to do offerings to the waters. We also shared teachings and interchange of cultural knowledge and traditional knowledge. We also held a replication of what tribes used to do a long time ago when they traded and bartered and really gifted and shared not only songs and stories but shared goods, buckskins, shells, jewelry, the gems, the crops, the seeds, the corn, the goods, all the things that are made in our traditions. Tribes did that again, and so we did that down in Supai just recently. We are part of this process. The reason is that the tribes came together in 2009 with an open-ended agenda. We, as Grand Canyon Trust, we facilitated this intertribal gathering process, but we wanted to work with tribes in a way that they're the drivers of the work, not the trust saying, here's what your priorities should be. This is an experience. A lot of environmental groups, they come in and they say, tribes, here's the most important thing, here's what you should do, and we'll work on it for you. What we wanted to do was kind of have the guidance and the vision come from the tribes and find the resources to help the tribes actually implement their work in their communities. We have done this very well. Through this process, we used a 3-prong approach, 3 strategies. One was, let's get funding. We were able to raise what's called an opportunity fund. That led to funding everything from teaching kids how to farm again out in various tribes, from Zuni to Hopi to Navajo. Restoring springs. There's a lot of sacred springs, such as up at Hopi, such as up in Black Mesa, where they haven't been taken care of for a long time. Finding the dollars, finding the youth to work on it, finding the elders to advise the youth. That was what that project resulted in. It also resulted in things like cultural knowledge sharing between. A lot of it was between elders and youth. We were able to fund things like how teaching the Wallapai youth how to harvest the plants the old way. Things like agave. The different plants are used for foods, the various types of wild spinach and things like that. These funds were also used to heal our communities. So this money made a massive difference, and what that has resulted in is a foundation called the Colorado Plateau Fund. that really is built. It's under the Arizona Community Foundation. It's really built on all the priorities of that came out of this gathering process. The other thing that we approach that we did is building community strategy. We've really felt like there had to be on the ground work. The gathering group themselves define what those priorities are. It's really dealing with climate change, mitigating climate change on the ground, working with farmers in the community to find the best farmers that still farm using low water techniques. Whether it's dry farmers, whether it's farmers that irrigate, they use also natural pesticides. They use traditional knowledge, traditional songs, traditional teachings. And we wanted to make their project strong and also have them share that knowledge with new farmers. A lot of the younger folks don't have that knowledge. So so we're doing all kinds of work like that. We're working with communities on farmers markets, funding farmers markets. We're funding work even as farming project, and we're funding their low water techniques. Some of those products that they've been growing and processing is now being it's for sale. The community is actually selling it, so they're keeping that dollar going, and they're finding new ways to put it to use. So that work, it has been important. It's made a big difference, and so that's the second strategy. The third strategy is building the long-term networks. Tribes a long time ago used to come together. Tribes traded together. Tribes shared knowledge and traditional teachings. You needed tribes that were the mountain tribes. You needed tribes that were from the desert tribes or the ocean tribes. Just to give an example. And they all knew as much as they could about all the plants, all the different climates, the different soils, the different seasons, and the animals, and they could share that knowledge. And thus you had a really good system going. And what we're trying to do is recreate that amongst the tribes on the plateau and immediately around the plateau. So we want to leave this with tribes having relationships outside of their tribes, elders, people that are farmers, people that are NGO leaders, people that are community leaders, really knowing each other and being confident that they can call out to somebody all as far away as, somebody in Supai can call somebody in Acoma, somebody at Zuni could call somebody in Kaibat Paiute, somebody in Southern Ute could reach out to the White Mountain Apache, somebody down in Yavapai Apache could reach out to the Ute Mountain. That's the kind of system that we want to create and keep that going. So that's what that work, those strategies are. And really the big challenge here is climate change. That's why we're here. That's why we're working on this farmers market. That's why we're building this pavilion with the village of Moncopy, with partnerships with Shanto, with the help of San Manuel tribe. We want to Moncopy offers a perfect location because there's a bunch of farming groups, people like John Hopkins, St. Jude's Church, the farmers down in Curly Valley, the farmers down in Moncopy Development Corporation, and all the nonprofits, the Grand Canyon Trust. The potential we have to come together as tribes, as groups, and to actually make an impact is happening right here in this community of Moncopy and Tuba City. That's why we built this pavilion together, and we want it to work. We want it to be a place where people can learn about, how do you restore a watershed? How do you remove tamarisk? What are ways to fix springs? How is it you do a proper field, like where you only need to water it once a year? How is it you do terrace gardening the old way, where it's perfect and it can be last the generations? What's the technique to keep out pests using traditional methods versus things that are like chemical? How do you build seed banks? What are ways that all these things can better? What are ways can tribes do seed exchanges? That's what we want this center to be, and so that's what we're doing here. Thank you.